Time for Media Watch. James Creedon is here and ready to go. James, Christiane Taubira made a speech to the French National Assembly defending the gay marriage and adoption bill, a very controversial subject here in France, which has divided many, many people. We've seen demonstrations for and against on the streets of the major cities. But her speech has been called historic.
She really seemed to mean what she said today in Parliament, Mark. Let's take a look at one or two headlines on the French media websites about this. Mariage homosexuel, la leçon d'histoire de Taubira, the history lesson of Taubira. She spoke today, and as she has spoken in the past, in very historical terms about this being a matter of progress. This particular latest progress is just the latest after various other, civil rights issues or progress issues. Mariage pour tous, Taubira met de la poésie dans son discours. So she finished, actually, her speech in Parliament today with some lines of poetry by the French poet Léon Gondran d'Amas. So only in France, you'd say. And he is actually a poet from her home country or home département of French Guiana in Latin America. Let's take a listen to that, how she wrapped up a very passionate speech today in the French Parliament.
We are so proud of what we're doing that I want to define it through the words of the poet Léon Gondran d'Amas. The act that we are going to achieve is as beautiful as a rose who, in the shadows of a besieged Eiffel Tower at dawn, sees its petals open. It is great, like the need for change. It is strong, like the sharp, shrill sound of a cry in the long night. Thank you.
Passionate speech, passionate response.
Her party loved it. They absolutely loved it. Now, I went online to find that poem, Mark, and I'll show you one detail that I gleaned here. This is the poem by a poet who was one of the three major poets in the Negritude movement, which was a movement by French-speaking black literary, poets and writers, etc., for black rights and things like that, or equality. And what she did is she took a couple of lines from that poem and put them in a totally different order, actually. She took that line there, and then she next cited this line here, and then she went back up to the very top of the poem and cited that one to finish with. So I'm not sure how the poet would have felt about having his poem dismembered and put together in a different way. But what I think is interesting here is she's a black woman from a French overseas territory, and I think she actually feels very passionate about this bill. She sees it as being the latest in a line of progressive movements for women's rights, for equal rights between races and stuff like that. It really seems that she means it, and that's what they were saying on Twitter, Mark. Taubira, exceptional. She read the speech without notes, historic. Others saying that she's like Simone Veil, who was the health minister who made a very impassioned speech in 1974 for abortion rights, and also being compared to Robert Badinter, who was the justice minister who had the death penalty abolished in 1981. He also spoke passionately in Parliament about that. So that's the kind of they're the comparisons that are being made by her supporters, of course.
More poetry in politics. That's what we're saying here at Media Watch, definitely. OK, let's not measure our life in coffee spoons, to quote T.S. Eliot. It's not all support for this bill, is it? Obviously. There are lots of people here in France against it, lots of politicians against it too.
That's right. And actually over 5,000 amendments were put on the bill or proposed for the bill today by centre-right, ranging from centre-right politicians to far-right politicians. One guy, Jacques Bompard, he kind of got a bit of notice by proposing that the bill would be, that for the French, calling for polygamy incest to be added to the gay marriage bill. So they're trying to slow it down and also, I suppose, have it ridiculed in some senses. Henri Guillanot, former speechwriter for Nicolas Sarkozy.
The people calling for incest to be added, I mean, they're idiots, aren't they, surely?
I think so. I think
they are. I mean,
I think the problem with this bill, a lot of people have been saying it's been called marriage for all, mariage pour tous, and that plays into the hands of people who are against it, because they're saying, well, if it's marriage for all, it's marriage for incest, it's marriage for everything, and that's how some people are.
Poppycock, isn't it?
I think
it's nonsense, isn't it? Let's call a
spade
shovel a spade, as it were.
Absolutely,
and that's complete nonsense, isn't it? Anyway, that debate will continue, won't it, James?
For the next 2 weeks.
Okay, James Creedon, as ever, with Media Watch.
Thanks, Mark.
Pleasure seeing you. We're taking a short break for some weather. We're back, of course, after that with the news and some sport and some culture. A rich and varied menu here for you, live from Paris.